Small business is about courage, risk-taking, independence, and we small business owners are survivors. Everybody has an idea for a business, but how do you take that idea from mind to market? This is the place to learn.
Small Business School with Hattie Bryant.
It's a new kind of school. Together we'll learn about business from the inside out, from the people who've done it. We'll meet the men and women who are today's pioneers and quiet heroes. Their lives are the textbooks. Our classroom is the world.
Small Business School is made possible by support from IBM. We're not just for big business anymore. At our website, built just for you, discover how technology can move your business forward. When it's your business, everything matters. IBM. And the United States Postal Service, delivering the promise to America's 23 million small and growing businesses. We're where you live your life. We're where you run your business.
Hi, I'm Hattie Bryant. This is the place to learn about how to start, run, and grow a business. We believe the men and women who have already done this are your best teachers, and we call what you will experience now a masterclass. We also believe that small business owners are the new American heroes. Heroes because out of their imaginations, and so often alone, they find ways to bring new ideas to life and to invigorate and inspire everyone around them. This is the case with Chef Thomas Keller. His employees and his customers draw inspiration from him. You will too. What does it take to make a great meal? Perfect ingredients for one, then chopping, sautéing, whipping, squeezing, waiting, and loving it all into existence. That's what happens every day at this remarkable restaurant in California's Napa Valley, the French Laundry. Owner and chef Thomas Keller sets the standards and leads his team of 52 employees. To have dinner here, you must make a reservation 2 months in advance, to the day. They serve about 90 people every night in this simply perfect place.
What our philosophy is that we want, it's simple, the law of diminishing return. The more you have of something, the less you want of it. So we want to give you just enough to where you get to the point where you've had that last bite and it's at the pinnacle of flavor because your taste buds have reached that. They've gone through the kind of initial acceptance of the flavor to the realization of the flavor, and the flavor goes like this in your mouth to the point where all of a sudden it becomes saturated with the flavor and then it starts to go down. But we want to keep you at the top of the bell curve of your taste.
So I finish my plate, they take it away, and I
want you to say, God, I wish I had one more bite.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
I wish I had one more bite. But then you get the next plate, and you say, oh my goodness, and the same thing happens, and you leave, and you say, God, I wish I had one more bite of that. So by the time your meal is finished, you've gone through your 6 courses or 9 courses or 12 courses, you're completely satisfied. Both your hunger, your physical hunger is completely satisfied because you've consumed enough food, but your intellect about the food is completely satisfied because at each point, each plate that you've had, you've been left with that feeling that, God, it was so good, I wish I had one more bite.
This is American food prepared in the French tradition. I tasted tongue-in-cheek, braised beef cheek and veal tongue with baby leeks and horseradish cream.
This is the baby arugula that we picked earlier.
I got some.
Is it good?
At what point did you say, all right, now I can own my own business?
When I was 21. And it was it was one of those, again, working for somebody else and then doing my own thing. I went in partnerships with 2 other young men, and we opened a restaurant in South Florida. It worked. It worked on certain levels. It didn't work on the financial level, which kind of after 18 months left us with empty pockets and broken dreams. But I think we all learned something from it. I certainly learned something from it. I became more focused after that, and I said I understood that I needed to know much more.
So 6 years later, what kind of theme? What kind of food?
6 years later, after leaving Florida, working upstate New York, working in New York City, and then moving to Paris and working and living in Paris, moving back to New York, I became partners with a gentleman who had a restaurant in New York, and we opened a restaurant in the city. Several years later, a restaurant called Raquel, which was a great restaurant. And then, bang, the stock market crashed.
Oh. So that was stock market crash. These were all your customers. Now they're broke.
Right. Now all of a sudden we were kind of like blacklisted from all of the agencies that were there because the restaurant was considered too expensive, so they weren't allowed to go anymore. All the customers that we were drawing from Wall Street, because we were relatively close to Wall Street, I mean, there was a whole market that just kind of fell apart.
So what'd you do? Did you cry? Did you?
Well, no. I mean,
you just said,
you just keep doing what you're doing. Eventually, my partner, forced me to accept the fact that I couldn't, either I change what I wanted to do food-wise and thus change the prices, or we'd have to find somebody to take over the restaurant. So I said, well, my purpose in my career is to do the kind of food that I believe in, and I'll give up the restaurant and we'll bring somebody else in and we can reformat the restaurant, and that's what happened. I left.
So what you're saying is you're not changing.
I wasn't changing. No, I believed in what I was doing, and I believed that I would find a place to be able to do it. I thought that if I would compromise my quality and my standards, that it would be the end of me.
And
we shook hands and I left. Right,
yeah.
I left.
Okay.
So I took a job in Los Angeles, and first time being in a corporate environment was disastrous for me.
Layers of bureaucracy.
Yeah, it was disastrous. It didn't afford me the ability to cook. As the executive chef of a hotel, you were expected to do everything else but cook. I had meetings. Staff meetings, budget meetings. I mean, I was in meetings 4 or 5 times a week, and I found out that I was more miserable in an environment, in a kitchen environment, and not being able to cook than I was not cooking. So I left the hotel and I started a small business called Evo, which is an olive oil company, with a partner, and we produced olive oil for a while. We still do. I still do. And that kind of kept me busy. It was fun. Made a little bit of money at it. But what it allowed me to do was think about where I wanted to be in my next step. And I found the French Laundry. I always kind of back into things, I guess, is the way that I do it. I found the restaurant. I said, this is what I want. Now, how can I get it? How can I get it? And that was the biggest challenge of my life. And I think if I knew then what I know now, I would have probably thought, that's ridiculous. I'll never be able to do that.
In other words, it was too big of a dream.
Yeah, it was just too many things involved in buying a business. I had no idea.
How did you close the gap between the dream and the actuality? I mean,
I found the restaurant. The restaurant was closed. I came onto the property and I said, wow, this is it. This is magical. This is the place that I want to be. It reminds me of France. It could be anywhere. So I went home, went back to LA, and I thought about it for a couple of days, and I called the owners on the phone. I said, my name's Thomas Keller. I'd like to fly up and I'd like to introduce myself and show you who I am and maybe talk about purchasing a restaurant. Don and Sally Schmidt were the previous owners. They said, sure, come on up. They were the kind of people also that wanted to find the right person to buy the restaurant. They weren't the kind of people who were just looking to sell the restaurant. And finally, I put together a prospectus of probably 300 pages. And I found an attorney that did this kind of work in LA. He wasn't a restaurant attorney, but he was a man who enjoyed great food and great wine, and his restaurant clients were well known, or at least well known to me. So I went to him with my prospectus and a bottle of Evo. And I said,
you go with the
olive oil, right? Because again, remember, I have no money. I have no money. I'm living off my credit cards.
Wow.
Which is kind of embarrassing.
So you financed it on your credit cards at the beginning.
Basically.
Because you're living on that.
Right, because I'm living on that. And I take him this prospectus and I say, Bob, this is another Bob in the project. I said, this is my idea. It's a great opportunity. You know, this is my prospectus. He was very impressed. He said, you know, I've dealt with 3 or 4 other chefs who have done this, and none of them have ever come to me as well prepared as you've come. And I think that was key in getting him on board. And he said, fine. So, you know, I'm impressed. I'll write this document for you, and this is how much it's going to cost you.
And then you said?
And so I pulled out my ball of Vivo and I said, listen, Bob, I said, I really don't have any money. You know, I just started this olive oil company and da-da-da-da-da.
Would you take a case
would
of
you do
olive-
it on spec? And he said, well, I won't do it on spec, but if you can raise $5,000 as a retainer, I'll do it. So I said, okay. So I went out to all my credit card machines and started.
Oh, you went
and
ATM? You went to the ATM,
ATMs
got
and
some
whatever,
cash?
got some cash, and I
And
gave
you
him
peeled it off?
$5,000. And he did it all on spec. Now keep in mind also, once this process started, I needed to come up with money to.
Oh my gosh, you haven't
need
even
to-
started. The
Right.
5,000 is nothing.
I said, I don't have any money, Don and Sally, you know, but I'm going to do this, really, believe me. And they had the confidence too. They had the confidence that I was going to be able to pull it off. And I gave them $5,000
From the ATM machines?
from the ATM machines, from my credit cards, yeah.
You spent this money and you still
Yeah.
don't have any ownership yet.
Oh, I still don't have any ownership. No. It was a big leap of faith for me. It was a big leap of faith for now the attorney. Certainly a big leap of faith for the Schmidts, because they're going into a position where now they're going to close their restaurant because they believe that I'm
Right.
going to buy it. And
So they're going to lose opportunity.
they're going to lose opportunity. They're going to lose revenues.
And you're going to cause them to lose that opportunity if you don't come through.
Yeah, but everybody believes that it's going to happen. Nobody knows how long it's going to take, and nobody knew it was going to take 18 months. I mean, we had many dates where, you know, the deal
We
was
missed
supposed
them. Missed-
was supposed to
missed those
sign,
dates,
and we
missed
said,
those
oh,
dates.
we'd come back to the Schmitz and say, I'm close. This is happening. Please bear with me and believe in me for another 3 months. And Don's high said, okay.
Do
You
you
know,
think your
believe
other
in-
2 failures, the one at 21 and then the one in Palm Beach and then the one in New York, did that teach you that, did that give you courage?
It gave me a lot of confidence because I had been through it before.
It's like,
Now
You lived-
but I'd been through it with other people's money before, so that was a little easier. So fortunately, my attorney had a base group of people because he had done this for other restaurateurs that we started sending him to. I sent him out to people that I had known, Bob, Michael, my 2 initial contacts.
so the attorney went on your behalf.
My attorney went on my behalf to a few of his core group of people that he thought might invest in a restaurant. And I just started making cold calls to people. And I'd ask you, do you want to
Right.
invest? No, I don't want to invest. Well, do you know somebody who would? Well, maybe this person. And before you know it, you're talking to people that you don't even know. And you wake up in the morning and you have a list of 10 people that you want to call. And sometimes I'd get through 3 of them. Sometimes I would get through all 10 of them because it was a good day and I had 2 people that wanted me to send them to prospectus. They're not even saying they want to invest. They're just saying, okay, send me the document, let me take a look at it, and then call me back in
Thomas,
In
you're
2 or 3
selling.
weeks.
You're selling.
I'm selling.
You're not being
Yeah.
a chef.
No.
You're not cooking. You're selling.
No, the bank gave us a real estate loan. The SBA gave us a business loan.
All right.
And then the investors came up with the rest. Right.
Okay. So you have 3 separate, but how many investors?
48.
48 individual
48 investors. My philosophy there was to have a lot of investors investing a small amount of money.
So no one would.
No one,
if it
no
would
one,
be
no,
feel
no one,
better.
right? No one would lose a lot if the business went
Okay.
failure, and no one could tell me what to do.
And that's working.
It's working very well.
Now,
Very
are
well.
they getting
And they're all
some-
very proud of it, and they get a lot of satisfaction out of being one of the owners of the French Laundry. Our first year, which was really only 6 months, 'cause our fiscal years is also the calendar year. So our first year was 6 months. We opened in July. We finished out in December. We lost money the first 6 months.
Of course.
And then the first year, our first full year, we broke even. I think we made $6.
I love it. We made $6.
$6.
Yes.
We all worked extremely hard, and we made $6. And then our second full year, we really started to realize what the restaurant could do, and we started distributing money to the investors.
Everybody's-
And we became pretty solvent after our first year and a half.
And you wanted the experience more than a bunch of money.
Yeah, the money part of it, from the beginning of this project, was never the most important part of doing it.
I mean, you want to make a living.
Well, I had to be responsible to my partners.
Right.
I had to be responsible to the bank. I had to be responsible to the SBA. I had to be responsible to my employees. But it's not what drives us. It's not what drives my cooks. It's not what drives the people that work in this restaurant. What drives the people, us, is the fact that we were able to do something that's going to make a difference for us in our lives. And because it makes a difference for us in our lives, it's going to make a difference for the people who come to our restaurant.
Thomas Keller was named by the James Beard Foundation America's Greatest Chef. Brass plaques alert guests that they are entering hallowed ground.
There are less than 10 members of this association in America, and 2 of them sponsored the French Laundry to
Have
become
they
a
been
member.
To eat here and
They've been to eat here, and several of the members from around the world have been here to eat. So at their last Congress in Paris, which was back in November last year, there was a outpouring of recommendation by several people, not only our sponsors, which are here in America, but several people from around the world. There was a gentleman there from South Africa, a gentleman from Switzerland, a woman who owns a restaurant in Florence, who are all members of this association, who said, yes, 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 the French Laundry should be part of our association.
Customers rave.
He keeps this level of excitement high.
For 9 course.
For
Yeah,
nine
that's-
courses. I don't know if we're
that
going
we
to
did-
survive
that-
this. We used to
that-
do 3 courses.
I don't know yet.
I have people calling me from Europe. from
Employees
the
rave.
East Coast, from
This is
Canada, from
reservationist
Mexico, from
Misty
Puerto Rico.
Johnson.
They want to eat at the French Laundry because the food is wonderful, it is excellent, and when it passes through Thomas Keller's hands, it's just not the same. It's transformed. It's just wonderful.
The press raves. Wow, wow, wow! Thomas Keller's brilliant food attains another level of hedonism. Do the French ever get this lucky? Gourmet Magazine has written about the French Laundry, and Gail Zweigenthal, editor-in-chief, talked to me about Thomas Keller.
He is clearly passionate about what he does. He wants the people in his restaurant to love his food, and so there he is. There he is, making sure everything is wonderful.
On this program, you have met business owners who say, do what your customers tell you to do. And you've met business owners who say, please only yourself. The CEOs of big business would laugh. Big business is about return to the shareholders and management by objectives. And these goals can be achieved only by pleasing customers and by grabbing an even bigger market share. Thomas Keller made a decision somewhere along the line that his heart and soul will not allow him to compromise his personal taste. He would rather be poor and cook what he wants to cook than be rich and cook what others want him to cook. He started cooking at an early age, studied with great chefs, then gave himself the freedom to experiment and develop his own personal style, which is now studied and applauded by others. After 2 business failures, he has become very successful because he stood by his standards. By doing so, he draws customers and investors who want to pay for what he wants to make. Napa is a place where people come to eat and drink. They're on vacation, celebrating a special occasion, and are happy to pay the price and wait in line to savor what Thomas wants to cook. To succeed in business, you can make exactly what you want to make. You just have to find enough people who want to buy exactly what it is you're making. Pascal Di Philippe is the maitre d'.
The main thing for a maitre d' is to take care of the customer, to assist them in their choice, to help them decide on their wine, and to make sure everything is fine at the table. And he's the person that is the mediator between the dining room and the kitchen. In a small establishment, you kind of let your personality take over a little bit, and it's part big. A great maitre d' have a big personality, actually, but I'm not there really to impress them. I want the food and the service to impress them. The biggest compliment that we have is that when people leave and they say, well, it was worth waiting. And when they told us that, inside of me I have a little smile.
So did your point of purchase system tell you which of the choices they made within those courses, because that prices it different?
All right.
Yes, it does that. It also breaks it down to separates the food amount, wine amount, beverages amount, tax, and gratuity. It separates all of that for us. Well, I think the most helpful thing is just our inventory. It makes our inventory so easy. We have such a small wine cellar that being able to just get a printout of the wines that are sold and just update it daily really helps a lot.
It's fast. It's much
Oh,
easier.
yes.
Some 20 cooks work with Thomas in the kitchen. This year, Stephen Durfee won the Beard Foundation's award as Best Pastry Chef in America.
You know.
On your award, did you submit any recipes or anything?
No, it's all entirely based on people who come to the restaurant to eat.
I
So
see.
it was it was a complete surprise when I found out.
So every day in the morning, you come in and you fix how many different items
We have about 8 or 9 dishes that are on the menu.
that
In
are
addition-
pastry
Yeah.
that you do?
Yeah.
Here you create an energy in the restaurant, an environment, an energy within the environment. And that energy only accepts like energy.
Like
So,
attracts like.
exactly. So
Success breeds success.
exactly. So you have those people that come in here who are can be successful in that energy. And every day now we try to tweak the organization so that it becomes a little more efficient, a little more effective for people to work in, a little more organized, so that there's not that chance that someone doesn't understand what's going on in my head and my sense of logic. So I build around me a group of people who have the same type of vision, the same type of passion that I have. You can almost watch somebody walk through our kitchen and say, yeah, there's a person who's going to be successful here. Or there's a person who's not going to be successful. Just by the way they walk, just by the way you communicate through your body language or your body movements, how you work around other people. Because, you know, in this, it's all, I call it a dance in the kitchen. I referred earlier to as being athletic. Well, it's also like a dance, and we can move through the kitchen without stepping on your toes.
People talk about, are your products local? Well, local has been redefined in the jet age. I mean, local to me is anything I can get here by jet in a
few
day.
hours.
Yeah, in a few hours. Yeah, I mean, our scallops come from Maine. Our scallops come from Maine 3 times a week. We get lobsters from Maine every day. I mean, they are local to me because they're coming in my back door every day, fresh, live, vibrant. The hearts of palm from Hawaii that we just started getting, for example, just harvested on Tuesday, and they were packed up yesterday. They were packed up Tuesday and shipped.
And what you're saying is your experience with Hearts of Palms have always been in a can.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because Hearts of Palm is, for me, the reference point for Hearts of Palm for me has always been French, because you always see them on French. I feel that. Isn't that, it's like satin.
Satin.
Yeah, isn't that?
It's amazing. Yeah, we want to see.
I would draw the line of calling myself a chef if I'm not in my kitchen every day. It's the only job that I know. That's the only job I know anyway, but it's the only job that I can imagine that would bring as much satisfaction. I've been cooking now for 73, since 1973, so 25 years, and never really made any money at it. Never really my purpose of doing it though. So I was always comfortable doing it, and I always knew that it would take care of me. You know? If for nothing else, I'd be able to eat every day. And I don't look at it. Some people, as I mentioned earlier, some people think I'm bullheaded or stubborn. It's not that. It's believing. It's really having that deep belief in what I was going to do and how I was going to do it, and visualizing every morning when I get up that this is going to be my restaurant. This is how it's going to be, and that's what that drive that made it successful. It's that wanting. I wanted it so bad that I made it happen.
It's incredible. What do you think? Set the part?
Yeah.
Serve it to the king? If we had one? It's incredible.
Thomas Keller didn't have any money of his own. He convinced 48 investors to back his idea. To help you find money for your idea, go to smallbusinessschool.org. You'll learn more about raising money. Remember, you can make exactly what you want to make. You just have to find enough people who want to buy exactly what it is you're making. We'll see you next time.
Small Business School is made possible by support from IBM. We're not just for big business anymore. At our website, built just for you, discover how technology can move your business forward. When it's your business, everything matters. IBM. And the United States Postal Service, delivering the promise to America's 23 million small and growing businesses. We're where you live your life. We're where you run your business.
If you want to learn more about starting, running, and growing a business, come to our website, smallbusinessschool.org. There's streaming video and interactive study guides. The only way we can compete with big business is to be faster, smarter, and better. We are the engine of the American economy. We create the jobs. Small business is about big commitment. It's about sacrifice and struggle. But we do it because we say, if I don't do this, my life won't be complete.